right.
But he said you prepare, and he stated this twice, to have a primary and a secondary weapon, and know how to not only know how to fire and reload them, but learn how to fix malfunctions, take them apart, reassemble them. Basically what you would need to do in a combat situation.
And I went back and I listened, and of course, what I got out of this was two things. Number one, whatever's going to happen, it seems like it may happen sooner rather than later, and certainly I do believe that. Now, again, you know, I hesitate to put any time periods on this because
we can do it because of the news today. I got a couple audio clips we're going to play, and there are. You know how we've been talking about the war propaganda, World War III conditioning propaganda?
That's correct, yes.
Okay, well, what we have here is articles and stories from a few different sources.
Right.
Fox News, for one.
Well, look, there is no question that the drums of war are beating extensively.
And one of the headlines is U.S.-Israel deal on Iran. No Israeli strike now if Obama pledged a spring attack.
Well,
and this is something we mentioned on Friday.
Boy, how many assumptions are there in that one sentence?
Yeah. Also, this audio we have here, build up to World War III. Israel media says military attack on Iran is imminent before U.S. elections. This is from the RT, I think. But we'll get to those videos.
And I find it very interesting to note as well the poll stats. And I don't know who operates or who runs or who's behind the polls, but according to some polls, Obama and Romney, again, not that it makes that much difference in the larger sense, but it does give you an indication of certain things. They're pretty close in terms of numbers, you know, 47 to 49%, 47 to 48%. Don't forget, folks, Obama's got a team of lawyers on standby, you know, in the event of any type of close election. So that's something that we have to watch for as well. And again, let me give out our phone number again. That's 661-244-9839. That's 661-244-9839.
Some other things we're going to get into tonight. Anti-terror exercise planned for the D.C. skies tonight. NORAD announces exercises as a warning for public. We're going to get into exactly what they're going to be doing, where, when, and what to expect. Also, attack on free speech. The United States government is increasing its attacks, isolation, and demonization of patriots, constitutionalists, Christians, whether they are speaking out or not.
That's right.
We have a number of issues, stories here that we're going to get into. Baltimore still challenging pro-life pregnancy centers.
Yep.
An Oklahoma police captain punished for refusing to participate in Islamic worship services files suit.
Yeah, and that's an important story for a number of reasons, because what's taking place here, and of course, folks, if you go to our website, which is homelandsecurityus.com, that's homelandsecurityus.com, as well as canadafreepress.com, canadafreepress.com. Both websites are sister site to the north. I shouldn't say sister site. I mean, they're big sister. You know, I got to tell you, what a great website Canada Free Press is. But that said, there is a war against Christians and Jews right now taking place. Folks, you have to understand that if there's nothing else from tonight's program that you walk away with, and I know you know this, I know that the regular listeners know this, but the war against Christians is really ratcheting up. And we got into, I wrote an article this weekend. It took me a while to write it, to connect some dots here, but if you do some dot connecting, I think you'll find, ladies and gentlemen, that the Arab Spring was birthed by this administration. And when I say that, I'm talking about Obama and Valerie Jarrett. Don't forget, Valerie Jarrett is from Iran, okay? Now, that said, this Arab Spring, people say it's, you know, it's run amok. Well, I don't think it's run amok. I think it's coming to fruition. And part of the Arab Spring is the attack against Christians, non-Muslims, and that's something that we have to really watch.
Yeah. We're also going to be covering some economic news. Lord Rothschild's betting on euro collapse. banking titan places $200 million short against the single currency.
You know, and I saw an interesting statistic today, and think about this, folks, because I have a hard time thinking of millions and trillions, billions. Billion, you get over a million with me, and it's like, holy cow, what are you talking about? I saw an interesting way to think about this. If you want $1 million, if you would take $500 and put it away every week, after 40 years, you would have $1 million. I mean, that's not no interest or anything like that. Just $500 a week, put it away. For 40 years, you have $1 million. For $1 billion, if you took $500,000 a week and put it away every week, you would have $1 billion. Did I say five? Okay, 500,000, which is $500,000, and $1 trillion is. Well, you know what? I better check my numbers on that. But just think about $1 million, $500 a week for 40 years. That's a lot. That by itself is a lot.
Yes, it is.
Okay. So anyway, you know, you start getting into numbers like that, and then of course what we're going through here with the economy, with the European Union. We do have some news about the European Union as well as the U.S. economy. And by the way, folks, there was a test run of sorts, and we got this information. I want to lead off with this information right now because we got this on good authority today. 8,000 U.S. banks across the United States, or 8,000 ATMs from U.S.-based banks were out of service for a couple of hours here within the last 24 hours or 48 hours. Now, that's 8,000 ATMs were out of service. That, according to the information I received, was basically, they're telling me that they are preparing to, it's part of conditioning people. It was not a glitch. It was a planned outage as opposed to a glitch, like you know, a planned power outage to get you used to not being able to take money out of the ATM. How sick is that?
Yeah.
Okay.
And we talked about that coming, you know.
Yeah, and that's it.
We also have some Fukushima news and some Agenda 21 news.
Yes, we do.
And also, the U.S. should hand over footage of drone strikes or face UN inquiry. UN Special on Human Rights to urge establishing a mechanism to investigate such killings. And it says that the U.S. must open up itself to an investigation or face the wrath of the UN. They'll be forced to step in, as the article says. But my problem with that is, aren't we really the main military arm of the United Nations?
Well, not sort of, kind of, but yeah, we're the primary force. But you've got the cannon fodder, the personnel behind it as well. So I mean, it's not as clean as what you're thinking.
And we also have some news that we didn't even talk about before the show. This was kind of happened last week, end of the week, and then over the weekend.
Right.
Alex+Jones documents were released by Freedom of Information requests that showed that the Department of Homeland Security was monitoring and using his information, his website, for you know, saying, look, these are the right-wing terrorists, these guys, the people that follow him. They were watching people, anybody who has an account on his just InfoWars site, not the video, Prison Planet. Even if you comment on that site, you're being monitored by the DHS, at least when you're on his site. And there's a big article about that. We'll find that and post a link. Also, government and media turn accused cop killers into constitutionalist and sovereign citizens.
Yeah.
As they're ramping up their attacks on, you know, people who want law and order in this country. You know, after something happens, we've seen it so many times, they've changed the narrative of the story to where the guy goes from being, you know, maybe a drug addict, high school dropout, college dropout, loner, really affiliated with nothing, to all of a sudden magically they have a Facebook page with all these, you know, don't tread on me. And I mean, we saw it happen. I don't remember the specific case, but I think the Lossner case, there was something, either that one or another shooting where something turned up on a guy's Facebook page after the incident had already happened, and we know what they did with the Batman shooter. They said he could have been a Tea Party supporter or a Tea Party guy.
Sure.
This is what they do. I mean, they're conditioning us to be ready for military on the streets. They're conditioning us to make sure that the people who are still asleep and follow the national news narrative know that if you don't agree with the government, you're a terrorist.
Right,
and then
exactly.
That leads to what? Our listeners, fellow talk show hosts being arrested, Marines being arrested for freedom of speech, for posts on Facebook, and see something, say something. It's just getting creepier and creepier and less safe to be an outspoken Christian in America.
Yeah, exactly.
And we also came across this, sorry to interrupt you,
but you did.
Military civil disturbance operations. A new PDF document has been released yesterday or today, which I haven't even got into reading, but I will be breaking this down, not during the show, but hopefully tonight, tomorrow, and have some more. I'll post a link for you guys in the chat. That way you can download the PDF yourself and do some digging and help us out. If you find something, send it to us.
It's almost becoming impossible to go through all of the news. Even with 2-3 people, it's almost becoming impossible with the way they throw the news at you. It's so incredible. But I think we've got a good handle and a lot of good pipelines of information. Our inside sources are pretty right on the money. I was alerted to something this past weekend, and I just want to share this with you folks. There was a reference to, folks, about the military, United States military. They go into war, and drugs are issued by the military to the soldiers. And we came across, this was published some time ago, but we came across what one particular Marine was prescribed or had in his deployment medicine chest, if you will. Now think about this. And we were told this is average.
And they put, the SSRIs, the serotonin rehab inhibitors, the these drugs, and
you've got, first of all, you've got antidepressants and anti-anxiety agents. Again, think about this.
Which are well overprescribed here, let alone.
You get deployed, and you're given this, about Prozac, Zoloft, Paxil, Wellbutrin, okay? There's 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 drugs listed under antidepressants. You've got other drugs, including Klonopin and Ativan.
Benzodiazepines.
Right. You've got antipsychotic and anti-manic agents as well. You've got various sleep medications, including Ambien, that are prescribed. And you also have ADHD medications. Obviously, to offset what is being used by a lot of pilots, especially, Dexedrine. And anyone who's been alive in the 80s knows what Dexedrine, is.
An old truck driver trick.
Pretty much. It's like amphetamine, essentially. Yeah. But it's an amphetamine. They're go pills, is what it is. But this is typical, by the way, of what a I shouldn't say deploy. What a soldier has access to and often takes routinely. Okay, so that's a frightening thought.
Yeah, it is. Not to mention the chemicals they don't know they're exposed to, the things that are put in their food. They're tested like guinea pigs over there.
That's
the DU
correct.
and the ammunition, the shots they're given, a whole list of other toxins that are put into their bodies. It's no wonder they're considered a threat when they're as a returning veteran, after what they go through and the way they're tested and manipulated and preyed on by our government. We have a lot of callers on the line. We're going to go to the phones right now.
Let's go to the phones, because You know, folks, I want to apologize for keeping you folks on hold. We want to apologize for that because this is a caller-driven show, and we want to know what's on your mind, and if there is anything that we can help you with in terms of providing you with practical information, we want to do so. So go ahead, Joe, and let's go right. Let's just go, you know.
All right.
Rather than try to match them up, let's just go ahead and take them as they come in.
All right. We're going to go to area code 617. I think this is Jeff. Jeff, you're on with the Hagmann and Hagmann report.
Oh yes. Guys, how you doing, Doug and Joe? I got some good stuff to share. Doug, first off, I got on that show on Saturday. I got off the website. That guy is great.
Yeah, I want to, Jeff. I want to take a moment here and just tell everyone I was on the Keith Benson show, and I've got to tell you, folks, and Jeff, you heard him. Okay, Keith Benson has a show, or I'm sorry, Benson. Keith Hansen, Hanson, 98.9. If you go to HomelandSecurityUS.com on the right-hand side, there is a link takes you directly to his show. Do me a favor, everyone. Go ahead and like his website, or go ahead and like his Facebook page. But Keith Hansen, Jeff, you heard him. He's a true patriot. He's an oath keeper. He's a guy that's a watchman, and he's out of Florida. So I'm sorry. Go ahead, Jeff.
That's okay. Another cool thing about him is he's former law enforcement.
Yes.
But another thing on the list is Greg Everson. I prayed for him because I don't know exactly what he's going through. I never went through what he went through. This is from the Steve Quill website. But I'm telling you, he is really under the gun. So what I felt the Lord put on my heart was to read Isaiah chapter 37 when King Sennacherib of Syria tried to go against King Hezekiah. So King Hezekiah prayed with the prophet Isaiah, and God worked everything out. I mean, there was about to be a full head-on invasion of ancient Israel. This is from the book of Isaiah, chapter 37.
Right.
You can look it up online, and there's a testimony that goes with that. Before I was a believer, I almost got killed in a gang fight. Before I got saved, I mean, I got knocked out instantly. So the next day I went to school. This woman who's most likely a believer said, "Jeff, you had angels protecting you." So simply put, there is always, every believer has an appointed time to die. Every unbeliever has an appointed time to die. And if it's not your time to die yet, God is going to protect you. That's reality. That's just Bible. That's not visions. That's not revelations. That's just how God works things out. You can find that in the book of Hebrews, I think it's 9, where it says it's appointed unto men once to die, and after this the judgment, meaning Greg Everson still has some years to go. I pray he doesn't die because he is a good man. I love listening to Greg, but I'm telling you something. This is an indicator of what's coming. Talk show hosts, callers, people like that are going to
Jeff,
yes.
share with what you know about what's going on with Mr. Evenson.
Can you repeat that? I didn't hear that part.
Share what you know, or what's going on. Share what you know, what's going on with Mr. Evenson.
Okay, I'll read it from SteveQuail.com.
Go ahead.
Pray and intercede for Greg Everson and his family. For the past several weeks, Greg has been delivered face-to-face personal warnings for his impending elimination. This has never happened to me before. This is no game. I ask all of you that understand the lateness of the hour to pray and fast 1 meal or 2 meals a day. I do that at work. I don't eat before I go to work. For our brother Greg's protection, and all the plans and plots of the enemy to kill Greg will fail. I ask you to keep the watchman whom the Lord Jesus had raised up supernaturally to intervene on the watchman's behalf, Hawk, Weather Watcher, SQ, whomever that is, Rick Wells, and Doug and Joe Hagmann have new active measure against us, and new spooks plying their craft on behalf of all watchmen who God has raised up. I thank you for taking this request seriously. I'm going to wrap it up with this. you watch. You're going to see even mainstream guys. I mean, I remember I get on with you talking about Michael Savage, where you said Michael Savage has to move to a new house every day. I'm telling you, Michael Savage is the cutting edge of mainstream talk show, and that's going to be the template for all talk show hosts who really step out on a limb and try and get the word out. I mean, we might have to make a run for it one of these days. But as believers, God will guide us. Amen. I'll let you guys go. God bless.
Thanks, Jeff.
Thanks, Jeff, for the call. And other folks who want to join in the conversation, 661-244-9839.
Yeah, just real quick on Steve Quayle's website, under the alerts, emergency intercessory prayer request for Greg Evenson and the watchman that God has raised up. We're very thankful that Steve Quayle put us in that category, or we were put in that category. There are new attacks. I mean, believe me. Yeah. When somebody that you look, when somebody tells you that if you don't shut up or if you don't change your ways, that you're not going to have long.
Right.
Get your attention. And
Yep.
that's what Greg's going through, and others.
Yeah, I wanted to mention this to you on air. A couple people are saying they're having trouble getting on the website. In the chat room, 2 or 3 people on the home website, Homeland Security.
HomelandSecurityUS.com.
Yeah. And folks, if you are having problems getting on the site,
we've been getting hit with dedicated denial of service attacks on our website. Okay, for the last 24 hours or since about midnight last night, we've been getting hit with attacks. And I got to tell you, it's we're tracing them down, and we're trying to back our site up. We do have backups, but before we get into that, we're trying to just stave off the attacks that we're getting right now. So it's not a good thing. No. But try it again. HomelandSecurityUS.com. It should be all right. It should be working fine.
Okay. And hopefully any other problems, send us an email if you can, just to let us know if that continues to happen. We're going to go to the phones again. Area code 570. You're on with the Hagmann and Hagmann report.
Hey, Doug and Joe, what's up? It's Jason in Scranton.
Jason, my friend, how are you, sir? Folks, let me just give you a real quick rundown. This Jason is the Jason that I wrote about in Canada Free Press and HomelandSecurityUS.com. This is a man that was deemed unfit because
because I'm a Christian.
Yeah, you know what? I was going to try to. Yeah, because you're a Christian. Jason, how are you? What's on your mind?
I'm not doing too bad, Doug. It's just that, you know, when I really start to understand how far this thing went, I found out some more information about this thing, and it turned out that there were 2 other of my friends that were involved with this. My friend, quote unquote, Sam, excuse me, I used his name, screw it. It doesn't matter at this point. He called 2 of my friends, and it was sort of a conspiracy, really, what happened to me. But that's one update. But that interview, or that story that with what was it? It was a Marine recently.
Yes.
Guess where they took him? He's in a nut house right now.
Right. Right.
I think, Doug, I think your story is extremely important because...
Well, it's your story, Jason.
Well, no, but I'm saying your writing is incredible, and your writing is unreal, and the way you put it together was just perfection, Doug. It was perfection. And I really think that story is important because I think this is a tactic that's going to be used in the future. I see a pattern here. How about you guys?
Well, Jason, I do. We do see a pattern. We've had numerous now, and as you know, you're not the only one. Of course, we've had 4 or 5 different people subsequent to your story, your account, actually have similar experiences. The common factors here, expressing the faith in Jesus Christ, using the word, using the name Jesus,
promoting following the Ten Commandments rather than following the laws of government.
That's correct. So, Jason, I got to tell you something, and you have started your own blog talk show on Sundays, and so that if you've got a platform and you talk. Well, I got to tell you something, Jason. Welcome to I don't want to say the big leagues, but welcome to buckle up. And of course, I don't have to tell you.
I'm ready.
And folks, again, let me just say this, Jason. Folks, this is Jason that I wrote about on Canada Free Press and HomelandSecurityUS.com. He received a phone call from Officer Steve. Ultimately, he was taken to a mental institution. Why? Because he professes belief in God, his belief in God, and and a few other things. You can read about it, but
you know what I think, Doug. You know what I think this is. I think it seems to, now. I know there's been attacks against Steve Quayle. There's been attacks against Greg. There's been attacks against all the watchmen. For a long time, but it seems to me like the real hammer is I think we're at the beginning of it, guys. I really do.
I'll second that, Jason. And anyone, please, we're asking for your prayers because I got to tell you, the attacks are coming and they're coming very quickly.
Absolutely, they are.
They're harder. They're much. When I say harder, I mean they're much more effective now. I mean, we're getting slammed in ways that I don't even want to get into because of the I just don't want to get into it.
I don't want to take anybody else's time. I'm just gonna leave you guys with this. If that does happen to any of the of the brothers and sisters that listen to this show, if that does happen, there is something that the Spirit of God takes over. And you know how Jesus said that you listen to the Spirit and He will give you the words to speak?
Yes.
The Holy Spirit will guide you if something like this happens to you, because I'm telling you, I could have been freaking out. I didn't know if I was going to get out of that hospital. I could have been extremely, and it would have been righteous. It would have been righteous anger, mind you. But
oh, sure.
You know what I mean? But I wasn't, and that's because the Holy Spirit was in me. And I'm going to tell you, I'll leave you with this little bit of hope. There was a lady that was staying right next to me. She was in the same position, and she was a non-denominational Christian. She was singing hymns the whole time. And Doug, the one hymn that she was singing was one of my mom's favorite, and she always used to sing it to me. So there was an angel there for me, and guess what, guys? If it happens to you, there's going to be an angel there for you too. Amen. God bless you, Doug and Joe. I love you both.
Hey, Jason, before you go, what's the title of your show, and where can we find it?
Oh, thanks, Joe. Thank you so much. It's Revelation News Radio. And if you just go onto my website, revelationnews.net, there's a big banner right on the front page. Just give that a click. It'll take you right to the Blog Talk Radio page. And I would love to have you guys on as soon as possible.
Thank you, Jason. And God bless you, my friend.
God bless you guys. And just Jesus save us all. God bless you. Bye.
Good night.
Thanks for the call, Jason.
Now, folks, does Jason sound mentally impaired
Absolutely.
in any fashion?
If I was a government agent, he would be arrested immediately.
Right. And I'll tell you, I should have apologized again to him. I mean, I put him through hoops. I made him convince me that he was not, that he didn't do anything. I mean, it was just, again, because I'm a hard sell, okay? But I have to tell you, Jason, at 28 years old, I think next week, as a matter of fact. Happy birthday, Jason, if you're still listening, or happy birthday already. I don't know. But anyway, I'm going to tell you, he's probably one of the most articulate young men I've had the pleasure to meet. And what they did to him was unconscionable.
Yeah, I agree. So, and I just want to add this. I guess the problems with Blog Talk Radio, people are having problems getting on, saying that it's not letting them come on and the show's not available, et cetera, et cetera. we're sorry about that, folks. You know, we have no control over Blog Talk and their systems.
Well, how are they getting on the chat room?
Well, finally getting in, saying,
okay.
you know, it took us this long. And if you do have these problems,
well,
I know there's
Justin,
a lot of...
Or go to, not Justin, go to...
Homeland Security US 1.tk.
The number 1.
I'll post this in the chat room. Homeland Security US 1, the number 1, TK, and that's the live video stream of the show.
Right.
Also, you can archive it on iTunes, RSS feed, any kind of podcast app on your phone, etc. I know it's convenient when you want to listen to it live and you can't get in and have to really be annoying.
Well, yeah, and we've had occasions where our numbers are, people are trying to, well, not trying to, people have taken our numbers, and we'll look at our numbers one day and there'll be one number, the next day there'll be half of what they were, and it's, you know, again, that's minor compared to what that's minor compared to the other things that we're seeing. And I would ask that you do pray for Steve Quayle, you pray for Greg Evenson, you pray for Rick Wiles and Hawk and all the Watchmen, because I'm going to tell you, we are under extreme attack. And again, I don't want to get into it. I really don't want to get into it, but it's...
We're going to get into it a little bit with some of the stories we have tonight, but I want to say this. Rick Wiles, he stepped it up a notch. He is on, I mean, he is doing so well with his show, getting the word out. I mean, we've been listening to his show more and more together, and it's really powerful. I mean, it was always good, but, I mean, maybe it's because the time is late. Maybe because it's our emotions, you know, our inner voice telling us, you know, this is important. You need to listen to this. Who knows? I mean, maybe it's him doing something different, but his message is really getting across to me.
Well, yes,
in a big way, and it's noticeable, and he does need our prayers. These people do need our prayers. We need your prayers, and we will pray for you, because there are not many people out there even left who pray. You know, it seems, especially in mainstream America.
Except when you're, you know, you're looking at death in the eyes, and then you start, you know, what do they say? There are no atheists in foxholes, and I think that's what, you know, it's unfortunate that you would have to realize it, you know, but that's kind of where we're at. We see that with people.
And now with that caller we got on Friday saying that time was short.
Yes.
Not the first time we got a call like that. We see it in different, you know, news reports. We see it in our real life scenarios. And I just wanted to give a message that we gave before about renewing your salvations. Renewing your salvation in Jesus Christ. Your sins will be washed away. You can rid yourself of the desires of the flesh and the materialism of this world. Get rid of, let go of the world and embrace the Lord. Walk with the Lord, do His will, not yours, and you will be fine.
Yeah, and you'll find that fear will leave you, and the greatest antidote for fear is God. So,
absolutely.
Email me.
Now I'll tell you what. I'm going to take. Let's go to a 484 area code. 484 area code. You're on.
Yeah. Hello.
Hi, 484. You're on with Doug and Joe.
Hey, how you doing? Is it possible I can call back in like a few minutes?
How about we'll put you on hold and back up in a little bit.
Okay,
All righty. Let's go to the 856 area code. 856, you're on with Doug and Joe Hagmann. Oh, you're laughing because of my what?
No, I was laughing at the last caller. That's funny.
All right. Going once, 856 area code.
It's
going
Sheila.
Once. Oh, Sheila. All right, we're going to put you back on hold. Let's go to 444 area code. You're on with Doug and Joe Hagmann. Go ahead. 444 area code. Or 440 area code, I'm sorry.
All right, okay, get it straight.
Yeah, you know what? It's been a long day.
Yeah, that's me. I just thought I'd call, stop by and say hi.
Okay.
And, you got the prayers that I sent you, right?
The email you're talking about? Yes. Thank you. Yes.
Yes, yeah. And you gave one to Joe. Outside of that, I wanted to tell Joe, you know, since you're as interested in Enoch as I am as well, if you go to my website and you go to
Front Street Saloon.
Yeah, Front Street Saloon.
Yep.
Go there and go to Innkeeper's Corner. That's where the action starts there for what it is. And right below my picture where it says private stock and books, etc., whatever, click on that. And then the next menu, click on all books. Now, this is all, this is all raw file, these here, okay? I mean, there's nothing pretty on these pages, but these are all downloadables. Look for a directory called Biblical.
Right,
and then once you're in there, okay, the rest will speak for itself. But there's a lot of stuff in there on Enoch, including some additions that went back as far as, I believe, 1822. And this was published by some guy, I forgot his name, was Draper, I believe.
Right.
And entered into the library, right.
Right,
but
and you've got a ton of information on your website in directory format, in the old style directory format, which is
yes, good. Right. It's easier for me to throw it in there that way, and eventually I'll get it sorted out, where it's a little bit better organized. But basically, what I did was just clean out my documents, and just poured it all in there. So in other words, you're getting it as I got it,
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what, I don't know if you can hear this, but you're breaking up like you can't believe.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Is there anything else? I don't know if you're talking on Skype or if you're talking on, or if it's just us.
No, I'm talking on my house phone.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't use cell phone or anything else. Now, that's kind of odd.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like you're talking through an electric outlet.
Scramblization is scrambling.
That's a new word. Scramblization.
I'm sorry, yeah.
Anything else, Paul, before we cut you loose, because you're making our ears bleed?
Oh, all right. Well, I don't mean to do that. No, that's about it.
Okay, my friend.
I'll get back to you on a by and by.
Okay, very good, sir. And folks, go to Front Street Saloon, and there's a lot of good documentation there. Wow. That went right through my eyeballs.
We're going to take one more call and go right into the news.
Okay, we're going to do this.
Yeah. 580.
You're 580. How do you like that in stereo? 580. You're on the air with Doug and Joe.
Hi, guys. I was just listening to your program, which is getting to be a habit.
Oh, boy.
Thank you.
Every night at 7, I have to make sure my husband is fed, and I can sit down. I really appreciate your program, but I just listened to everyone that called in, and I love the ones that say they're believers. It just does something for me to know that they're kind of few and far between, but there are still believers. God has a people, and I just love to hear from them.
Oh, yeah.
But I was just thinking tonight, listening as the Bible says to don't be afraid. That's what Satan wants you to do. When you hear truth, don't be afraid of the truth.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
But I just love this when he says that there's not even a sparrow that falls to the ground that he doesn't know. And then this makes me laugh. It says, and you have more value than many sparrows. So we're worth a lot more than just one sparrow, so he knows where we are,
But isn't that marvelous, though? I mean, because we've been accused, and when we get accused of being fear-mongers and, but the antidote for fear, aside from knowledge, is God. I mean,
I'll tell you another thing, and I believe this, listening to y'all's headlines that you bring,
yes.
Just every headline that you see, and it's getting worse, is to scare us. That's why it's out there, is to put a fear in us. But the Bible also says he's given us a sound mind. See, the world doesn't have that. A sound mind is a gift from God.
Yes, you are so right.
So he has given us a sound mind, not fear. We don't have, And so when I hear that, I just think, what, these people, they don't want to take their head out of the sand. They don't want to face truth, and so they get afraid and accuse you of being the fearmonger.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. And see, and this is what I believe too. You've got God does give you a sound mind, But as you grow in faith and grow in God, and you've got that spirit, you've also got the gift of discernment. Because
and that's another gift.
That's right. That's right.
Every good thing comes from God. Yeah, discernment is our protection. If we didn't have that, we'd be just like a lamb among the wolves, you know.
And you know, I got to tell you, this is how we get through a lot of the info. I mean, we receive emails from people who purport to be active military, purport to be at DHS, and what we've got to do is we've got to go through. And I mean, we're slammed every day with emails now, but so we rely a lot, you know, on instinct and God and discernment, right? To get to the real truth where things are at. And so you're right, though. But I'm glad it's a habit with you. I'm glad.
I was going to tell you, too, talking about hard to get on here, I like to have never got on, and I was just thinking it was my silly computer until I heard these other people. But in fact, one time today I tried to get on and it wouldn't let me, so I went over to Steve Quayle and clicked on his link to you. It didn't let me in.
I got to tell you, we are facing a very formidable enemy, and the cyber attacks are just incredible. We're fighting them. I've talked to.
We could lay out all the proof and do a whole show about it. I mean, we have you know, pictures, evidence that we could put together about the manipulation, the problems.
But you know what, Joe? It's not those people with their names and their human faces. It's the spirit behind them.
That's right.
And that's who our battle with is. I heard that guy on the other night that was just, such a hateful person, and blamed you for wasting an hour of his life. I mean, that's what I'm sure you have to deal with.
But you know what? I want to say something about that.
It was the spirit behind it, you know.
Right.
I think that person seemed to be confused. Like he said, there was an information. You give people an information overload, and then he just started. I think he is so in between. Is what I got.
Well, and he probably had an overload. He needed to back off, you know, and go rest in God. If he's a child of God, find the peace of God again. And, you know, knowing all these things that you guys present and all the news and all the happenings that's going on doesn't save us. It's good to know because it helps us see where we are, because if it relates to what the Bible says, you know, it's knowing Christ that saves us, and then these are little signposts, you know.
Yeah, and I have to tell you, Steve Quayle helped me immensely, and Joe helped me immensely. We look, you know, all I'm trying to do, all we're trying to do is, and I wish more of the talk show hosts would do this.
I do too.
You know, recognize God and recognize that spirit.
Well, I got to tell you, I wish they did. But unfortunately, would they be on the air if they did?
Well,
they would find other, you know, useful idiots to fill their spaces. And if they really wanted to, they would.
Yeah. Indeed.
Well, you know, the darkness will overcome because the light, it's just that's the way it has to be. There has to be an end, and there has to be a last generation somewhere. And I believe all these signs are pointing to very soon, you know. But that's not bad news. Jesus prayed, and our prayer he told us to pray was, thy kingdom come. We're praying for his kingdom come. We just know that like a woman in travail, she doesn't pray, just let me stay pregnant the rest of my life because this is going to hurt. What she prays is let this hurry up and get over with, you know.
Yeah, I remember my wife, believe me,
You just want it over with. And that's what Jesus is coming, is doing. And so only the ones that know him and love him is that a good thought, you know.
Exactly.
But there are going to be some hard times. But you know what? He's bigger. He's bigger than the adversary. And so there's no fear. We have more value than many sparrows.
Well, indeed.
Anyway, I just wanted to call in you guys. I enjoy your program.
Well, thank you so very much.
And we enjoy your call.
You're a blessing to the program. God bless you.
Good night.
Good night. Wow, you know, that's great. That's great. Now, look, we do have to get into some news here.
We got about a couple minutes before the break, 10 minutes before the break. I want to play this.
Callers on hold. Just
stay there.
Please.
Yeah, we'll come to you.
Hold on.
Okay. Build up to World War III. Israel media says military attack on Iran is imminent. War
how many times are we going to hear
U.S. election. and this is.
But how many times are we going to hear about this?
Well, this is my point, because it is constantly being shoved down our throats.
That's right. But now there will be a war. Look, we have to go to war. We have to. And the reason we have to, I mean, aside from the obvious, you've got Ahmadinejad, you got the mullahs, okay, who are wanting to usher in the Imam Mahdi, the 12th Imam, who believe that they need to create the chaos and catastrophe via either nuclear, chemical, or biological warfare in order to usher in that 12th Imam. And you've got Ahmadinejad, who believes that he is the forerunner, or the person to usher in that 12th Imam, and the mullahs. But more importantly, you've got the economic factors why we need the war, because we're facing a global economic collapse. Okay, now, go ahead and, the build-up to World War III, Israel media says military attack is imminent,
Yeah, I'm going to check on your...
But
for the clip, because the clip's not showing on mine, but I have a backup in case from Fox News.
Okay, because and that's the other thing too. We were denied. We've been denied access to our own files. We've had files expunged from our system. We've had and I'm going to tell you something. Okay, a lot of this, and I used to think there's times that things just happen. Things just break. Things things can be attributed to whatever.
I'm going to play
not this time.
I'm going to play.
Not today. Not now.
Yeah. I guess we don't get the good audio I wanted to play.
Let's go
but this is what was said on Fox News today about the possibility of Israel and Iran.
And we're going to tell you too why we're using the Fox News as well. But go ahead and let's. Now, how long is this? So
this is 4:52.
Okay, folks.
The other one was a lot shorter.
Here's what we're going to do. Are we going to take the whole 4:52 on this or not?
No, we can just play the first minute, and we don't have to get into what the guest says. We can. Megyn Kelly brings on a person to get his opinion on what is happening, but she lays out the important information.
Okay, let's do that and then cut it off at the minute mark. Okay.
Yeah.
Fox News alert on a developing story from the Middle East today. Fox News is confirming that Israel's deputy foreign minister is now asking leading nations to give up their diplomatic efforts and to, quote, declare that the nuclear talks have failed. This comes amid a new report in the last 24 hours that Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is close to ordering a military strike against Iran's nuclear assets, and now we are getting some feel for the timing of that. John Bolton is the former U.S. ambassador to the United Nations. He's also a Fox News contributor. And Ambassador Bolton, there was a frenzy of reports in the Israeli papers over the weekend suggesting that Mr. Netanyahu had all but made the decision to launch an attack on Iran's nuclear facilities this fall. Do you believe that's the case?
Well, I don't really know one way or the other. I think it's certainly significant that Deputy Foreign Minister Danny Ayalon made the statement that the West should acknowledge that diplomacy has failed. Ayalon's a former Israeli ambassador in Washington, one of the best, one of the most visible ambassadors that Israel's ever had in Washington. So I think he knows the impact his remarks will have here in the United States. And I have to say, he is saying nothing more than the truth. Diplomacy, by the way, didn't fail yesterday. It failed about 10 years ago. So the spotlight clearly now on Netanyahu and the Israeli government, given that everyone believes the Obama administration is not going to use force against Iran's program.
But now...
All right, I cut that off. But now...
But wait a second. Okay. Now, was he the guest for the entire clip?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. John Bolton when he talks, okay, you should pay attention to what John Bolton says because of his position. Now, some might call him a neocon, others might call him, a saber rattler or whatever. But I do know for a fact the information that he has, that he's plugged into, is pretty key information. But go ahead. What were you going to say?
No, what I was going to say is I'm going to try and get this other file going because it is important to hear the other side of of this.
Right, but okay, but the thing that Bolton said was, I don't know. I mean, you heard him say that.
Right,
I don't know.
And I'll bring this around so you understand it. This comes. There's a Debka file report.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
And there's an Intel Hub report, an RT report, and they were all had to do with Israel and Iran, and it had to do about the timing of the war. And all the reports had in common is, you know, there was going to be a strike. That was the common factor. And this, it's either going to be before the election or it'll be after the election.
Well, that's like saying it's either going to be dark or light outside.
But you can see, you can see how they are setting this up. Like we said, Obama, if Obama is willing to back Netanyahu, I mean, they're trying to make deals with each other for them to stay. For Obama's trying to make a deal for himself to stay in power.
That's the key,
and that
right
would be,
there.
I mean,
that's the key.
And he's using the timing of the attack as leverage.
Oh, sorry.
The support of the U.S. As leverage.
You're exactly correct.
And this is what's the
key.
And it doesn't matter because if Obama Romney gets elected, Obama's out. Well, then there's war anyway. If there hasn't been already.
But hold on a second. And here's what, according to our DHS source, my DHS source has told me. They are expecting, because of the porous southern border, because of the 40,000 plus illegal immigrants coming out of Mexico, because of some weaponry coming up through Mexico every month, they're expecting a blowback. Believe me, Iran wants to annihilate Israel, but Iran wants to go after the big Satan more than the little Satan, and the big Satan is America. And people don't understand this. They think that Iran thinks that if they can engage the United States, then in fact this is what the big prize is. Okay, so think, folks, think about this. It's the United States that's the big prize. That's the trinket on the keychain for Iran.
Yeah, in the Debka file, Israel media says military attack on Iran is imminent. War before U.S. elections. Now, this is the take on the Debka file article.
Right.
They're saying that the Israeli media is saying that attack on Iran is imminent. And we know it's going to happen. It has to happen. Iran does not have a central bank. We talked about the reasons and importances.
But this is where your spiritual discernment must come into play.
I got the audio clip up. We're going to go to it right here.
How long is it?
It's 2:28, and then we'll go to the break right after this.
Okay, folks. Now, this is the other side of this, but
build up to World War III.
Yes.
Here we go.
Israeli media says a military strike on Iran could be imminent and could take place in the coming months. Tel Aviv has long threatened to attack, saying international sanctions against the country over its nuclear plans are not enough. But as Anastasia Chudkina reports, an early use of force by Israel could leave Barack Obama red-faced entering this November's presidential race.
According to a major daily Israeli newspaper, the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and his defense minister would like to strike Iran as early as before the U.S. presidential elections taking place in November this year. Now, amid escalating media reports and expert predictions that such an attack could in fact be around the corner, the paper's front page article on Friday, authored by its senior commentators and reportedly based off of conversations with Israel's defense minister, says that if it were up to Benjamin Netanyahu and his minister of defense, Israel would cause a military attack on Iran sometime within the next several months. Importantly, Israel's security cabinet ministers have been resisting such an option for now. What's important here is while Israel is weighing this option, we know, of course, that Iran continues to insist that its nuclear program is for peaceful purposes exclusively, and we have seen the Obama administration be careful in urging Israel to stick with diplomacy. And now, of course, the big question is whether Israel may in fact go ahead with such an attack and whether or not it will wait for a green light from Washington. Importantly, experts in this article are quoted to say that If such an attack were to take place before the U.S. presidential elections, this would cause a major embarrassment to Barack Obama, as well as really cast a blow to his success in these elections, because, as we know, his main rival, Republican Mitt Romney, has never excluded such an option.
Well, as the media frenzy over a possible strike on Iran gains momentum, the U.S. president has tightened economic sanctions against the country. A new law signed on Friday prohibits American entrepreneurs from doing business with the Iranian oil sector, as well as shipment and insurance companies. The measure also blocks stock and gold trading with a number of Iranian institutions, including its central bank. Israeli media says a military strike on Iran could be
including its central bank, not the central bank. Because their bank is not connected with the IMF and World Bank.
That's correct. That's correct. So,
and that's what they're going after.
And this is something, now this segue is going to segue into next hour. We've got news about silver, metals, and some other things. Folks, economic news, very important economic news. I think was going to, well, I know, look, you need to know this because it's going to affect your pocketbook. We've got some information we want to share with you. But before we go to the break, ladies and gentlemen, I just want to thank you. I want to thank you for all of your prayers. And I know I have not yet personally sent thank yous to certain people who have sent contributions, financial contributions. I will personally thank you for that. Your prayers, your financial contributions to keep this program on the air right now is just unbelievably important. You have to understand that it's so important. Thank you so very much for that.
Yeah,
I just want to.
People have no idea what kind of a difference you're making. You are
that's right.
allowing us an opening that doors are being opened where possibly we could be streaming on a number of different places, and, like satellite radio for one. In radio stations, AM terrestrial radio stations across the country, you know, things are happening behind the scenes. Good things are also happening with the bad things.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And I gotta
thank
say,
goodness.
You know,
for every
100 bad things, one good thing makes up for that.
That's right.
And I get emails every day, like you say, just simple, thank you for your show, thank you for this.
And we're not soliciting thank yous. You know, we're thanking you for the emails that you sent.
And it's just so inspirational. So, you know, we're human. We're regular people. We get in bad moods. You know, we argue. We have bad days, and when you wake up when you're having a bad day and you sit down, and like today, I woke up, I had to go get a root canal. I come home to my computer.
I offered to do it for him.
I come home to my computer and I get a very nice email. You know, thank you so much for being so patient and kind with the callers. You have a wonderful show. Thank you. I mean, it may turn my attitude just completely around.
Except toward me, and he was just a bit of bear all day. Folks, you're listening to the Hagmann Report. I want to thank the people on hold. We're going to get to your calls. Thank you for being patient. We're going to get to your calls after the top of the hour break. I just do want to mention once again, folks, if you have the opportunity, look, I don't know what you guys are doing, what you folks are doing on Saturday. Saturday, this weekend, this Saturday. But do me a favor, tune into the Keith Hansen Show, Saturday, 12 to 1 o'clock. Venture on over to the link off of HomelandSecurityUS.com. Click on that link. Click a like on his Facebook. Say something nice about him. This guy is really a great guy, a true patriot, oath keeper, and he's going to make a difference. God bless you. Keith Hansen. We're going to be right back after these messages. Stay with us. Hi folks, Doug Hagmann here. You might know me as the co-host from the Hagmann and Hagmann Report, or as a frequent guest on Coast to Coast AM with George Norrie. If you're like me, you're tired and confused over today's headlines. You just don't know where to turn for accurate, concise information about really what's going on, what's truly going on in today's society. If you don't know where to turn for accurate, well-researched, and properly vetted news, I've got a suggestion. In fact, it's a requirement. Bookmark Canada Free Press. That's CanadaFreePress.com on the internet. It's just not for Canada. It's for news across the world. Judy McLeod, founding editor, has put together a vast array of talented writers like Kelly O'Connell, Daniel Greenfield, Dr. Ileta Johnson-Powell, a lot of guest columnists, very talented writers. Folks, that's Canada Free Press at CanadaFreePress.com. Now mobile friendly. Follow on Facebook, because without America, there is no free world.
Survival of the fittest. In any and all situations, survival is your #1 priority. That requires being tough and thinking smart. And the folks at Freeze Dry Guy are going to help you do just that. They have a long-range patrol ration entrees, what they call the Brick Pack. When you're in survival mode, it is absolutely the best item for your survival pack or bug-out bag. You can go farther, faster, and carry more food with the LRP cold weather ration entrees. Not only do these long-lasting, durable entrees help sustain you or your family through the harshest environment or situation, they are by far the most delicious of their kind. No contest. With a variety of tasty entrees, you can't beat the LRP Brick Packs. Let Freeze Dry Guy help you in your survival situations. Go to freezedryguy.com. That's freezedryguy.com, or call 866-404-3663. That's 866-404-FOOD.
And folks, I just want to mention, give Freeze Dry Guy a call off our website, HomelandSecurityUS.com. Click on the banner, Freeze Dry Guy. Give him a call and discuss your food needs with him. I guarantee you he'll spend the time and he'll tell you exactly what he would recommend with respect to your emergency food needs. And I'll tell you what, do it sooner rather than later if you can. August specials, they're there. Take advantage of them and tell them Doug and Joe sent you.
If you're stumped, you don't know what kind of gift to give to a friend or a loved one, I'm telling you, you must go to 4physics.com. That's the numeral 4, PHYSICS.com. This is your one-stop shopping palace. That's the only way I can put it. I could spend easily an hour on this website. Innovative, fun, educational. There are games, books, weather instruments, unique time-telling devices, jewelry, optical devices, laboratory equipment. Let me give you an example. We all know we can tell time with a sundial. You've seen those advertised. Did you know that you could tell time by the stars? At 4physics.com, you can buy a horologium nocturnum. This was a navigational device used in the 15th century by navigators at night to tell time by the stars. It's beautifully crafted in the shape of a pendant made of bronze and pewter or gold and silver. Absolutely a stunning gift. I would be proud to give it to anyone. You must go to 4physics.com. Even if you're not stumped, that's 4physics. That's the numeral 4, PHYSICS.com. It's your one-stop shopping palace. Any problems that you have, I don't know what to get Grandpa, I don't know what to get my loved one, that's unique, you will find it at 4physics.com. Please take my word for it. Go to the website, but give yourself a lot of time because you're not going to want to leave. 4physics.com.
Law enforcement is the profession where one day you may take a life, save a life, or give your own. And today was one of those days.
2 other St. John Parish deputies were wounded after separate early morning shootouts. Hi, everyone. I'm Andre Morrow.
And I'm Donna Britt.
While family and friends grieve, the focus turns to making sure justice is served.
Sources say up to 6 people now are in custody, men and women, but investigators are keeping details really close to the vest. WAP's Kieran Chawla is joining us now with this new information. It's just in.
So new information coming in regarding one of the suspects arrested in this case, Donna. Sources tell 9 News. Take a look. This man, 29-year-old Kyle Jokel, who is a fugitive from Nebraska, is in custody in Laplace in connection with the shooting. Now, it's not exactly clear what role he played in this tragic shooting, a shooting that's left an entire law enforcement family crippled.
I was woke by the gunshots this morning.
A rude awakening for neighbors, fellow deputies, and more importantly, families whose lives have changed forever.
I lost 2 good officers today.
Husband and father of 5, 34-year-old Brandon Nielsen had been with the St. John Sheriff's Office nearly 2 years. 27-year-old Jeremy Trish, a 4-year veteran, he leaves behind his wife and 2-year-old son. It started around 5 this morning in the Valero parking lot when police say a gunman opened fire on Deputy Jason Trish, hitting him and his car multiple times. Deputies then followed a speeding vehicle to this trailer park.
As we were interviewing the two subjects, another person exited that trailer with an assault weapon and ambushed. Ambushed by 2 officers.
How many gunshots did you hear?
It was multiple. I couldn't tell you. It was enough to know that there was something going on.
I wish I could give a rhyme or reason.
It was much later in the day Jody Malley realized that something was how 2 deputies died in the line of duty, just feet from his trailer. Officials closed off the scene as they searched for any clues. And while many law enforcement members here and those who were first responders are doing their job, they're trying to swallow a tough pill.
They're brothers. You know, we're all brothers and sisters in law enforcement. So when it affects one of us, especially one this close to home where I work, it affects us dearly.
It's why fellow officers with the Southern Law Enforcement Foundation are in LaPlace, providing a support group for first responders with the primary goal being getting these badged men and women back on the streets.
Could have done this or could have done that. Well, we want them to know that those are completely normal reactions and you're not alone, that a lot of us have been there.
Please pray for the 2 officers that were ambushed early this morning.
And 2 other deputies also need your prayers. 33-year-old Michael Bowington and 30-year-old Jason Trish. Both were injured during the shooting and are recovering and expected to survive.
Now, sources also tell 9 News the suspects arrested 1 or more may-be contract workers for Valero and add these individuals consider themselves sovereign citizens. State Police Colonel Mike Edmondson, who is heading up this investigation, he just told me minutes ago that they still have no clear motive and they will continue investigating throughout the night for any answers. Donna?
Hey, Kieran, let's clarify. Sovereign citizens mean they don't respect our government. That means that the FBI considers them anti-government people.
Yes.
All right, thank you.
Doug Hagmann, one guy that doesn't need a bullhorn to get your attention.
You want answers. I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to hour number 2 of this Monday, August 20th edition of the Hagmann and Hagmann Report. My name is Joe Hagmann. My co-host is Doug Hagmann. That audio clip you heard right before the end of the break was from Louisiana. 6 suspects in custody for deadly deputy shooting. And later, if you go listen to that audio, you can tell by the news report, but that says there's an update. The suspects in the Louisiana murders seem to be criminals involved in theft of drugs, not defrauding banks and the government, activity the FBI attributes to the sovereign citizen movement. Members of the group were allegedly involved in a burglary at a mobile home park in May. They were wanted under warrants in Tennessee, Nebraska, and Louisiana. Despite the lack of evidence linking groups to any political philosophy, the established media continues to produce headlines claiming murders are part of anti-government activity, and the police admit there is scant evidence linking the suspected criminals to the sovereign citizen movement.
The rub. That's the rub on this. That's the headline news, for today, and that's exactly how they're portraying the sovereignty movement.
And you heard the lady at the end of the news broadcast. The news lady. She said they don't respect our government. Well, who respects a bunch of lying murderers?
Well, now listen, we have a lot of friends in law enforcement. Greg Evenson does. They're good men and women. They're oath keepers. So look, we know that they've got a very tough job out there. We do. That's without a doubt. However, the upper echelon of law enforcement, the Eric Holders of the world, the FBI director, James Clapper from the Department of National Intelligence, these are the people who are slapping, and Jen Napolitano, they're slapping these labels upon people,
and they're not
just without evidence. You have to understand that there's no evidence. As you pointed out, there's no evidence between the sovereignty movement and criminal activity, except that these people happen to be engaged in criminal activity and saying that they're part of this movement.
Except the evidence created by Janet Napolitano and the Department of Homeland Security labeling people such as Christians or anti-abortionists or patriots or constitutionalists as terrorists.
It would be like me delivering the news and saying an anti-abortion activist robbed a bank today.
Yeah.
Okay. You know, it's...
I mean, you can just look at the facts of that. That's just one example. Also, they're trying to blame Alex+Jones for that, something that was a whole other story. I just saw that on this website today. And I thought it was interesting.
They're blaming us as well. Look, we've got a lot of... Steve Quayle, blaming...
a man who was up for over 9 days, who duct taped his children's eyes shut in his car when he went into a Walmart.
Whack job.
Yeah, he went into a Walmart up for 9 days, took his family, duct taped his kids' eyes in the back of his car because he wanted demons to stay away from them. But you read the title of the article, it says that he thought, the way it reads is that the demon, it says the kids were possessed, but no. But anyway, they say it
was because of Steve Quayle on our program.
Yeah, and you can go back to the Quayle archives on our program, and I'm sure find the headline that says, demons are being unleashed on them.
So, I mean, this is what's happening more and more. We're getting the squeeze now on from law enforcement and from the upper echelons of the Department of Justice. And I got to tell you, it's no fun. It's no picnic.
Another, it's control opposition, which is something we talked about on Saturday when we were on Patriot John's radio show.
Braveheart Radio as well. Saturday night, 6 to 9, Braveheart Radio out of Meadville. Again, a link off of HomelandSecurityUS.com. Between Braveheart Radio and Keith Hansen, two good shows there. So
yeah. And I was talking about the controlled opposition, how they create this opposition to kind of like Occupy Wall Street, co-opted, kind of like the Tea Party, how the opposition was co-opted, and now, the real Tea Party, at least the people of the United States, not the politicians, because all the Tea Party politicians aren't Tea Party or politicians for that matter, they are criminals. But anyway,
I just want to slip one piece of news in here. Folks, if you've been watching the commodities markets, specifically gold and silver, if you have the ability to invest in gold, God bless you, do so. Invest in silver. If you have that ability, God bless you, do that as well. Silver took a 2% hike today. Now, there's speculation, folks, that silver is going to take a dive and then rocket, take off like a rocket. Upwards of $100 an ounce. Now, there's extensive manipulation. J.P. Morgan is really manipulating the market on gold. If you want to crash J.P. Morgan, just buy all the physical silver, that you can, and make them, cause them to call in your deliveries as well if you've got silver contracts. But that said, expect, according to the information that we have, then this is consistent with some open source reports, expect silver to begin to rise. We don't know when, but we expect it to be soon. And you think, well, how does that affect me? Well, it does, especially because what happens, the inverse with the dollar, the value of the dollar is going to begin to decrease as well. Now, the other thing that affects you economic-wise, we're getting information where there are, you know how you hear about cyber attacks on banks? They're not cyber attacks. They're mega withdrawals. They're actually electronic withdrawals from banks by places like J.P. Morgan and places like that where the money changers, if you will.
Yeah.
They're withdrawing that money. These are not cyber attacks where they're stealing money. It's actually they're withdrawing money. Pretty soon, there's not going to be any liquidity of these banks, and I just wanted to share that with you because, according to our source here, the next time you hear about a cyber attack on any bank or a series of banks, look at it with caution, because it's going to be a flat-out withdrawal from or by the globalists to take the money, and that's and to push the banks into a position where they will not be able to give you cash. You want to cash a check, you're not going to be able to get that. That's happening, or that's beginning to happen.
We're going to get to some more economic news, but I'm going to grab a phone call here.
Go ahead.
Prophecy Zone. The Prophecy Zone is on hold. I think this might be the Prophecy Zone radio. If so, the Prophecy Zone, you're online with the Hagmann and Hagmann report.
Hey, I'm sorry about that. I didn't even need to be on. I didn't even know.
Okay.
I was sorry about that.
That's okay. I'll put you back on hold.
That's good. That's a good thing, because I don't know if you could hear that, but man, my mind was just totally digitized.
All right. Let's see. Who have not we got to yet? 484. I think we answered your call, and you said come back.
Yeah,
we're going to try this again. Area code 484.
Yes, this is Jim. I was giving a call. I just had like a question.
Sure.
Last week, I think you guys were talking about an Olympic song that was very
satanic.
It was a very occult Olympic song. I was just trying to get the name of.
Yeah. Does it Augusto Perez that mentioned that?
You know what? Help, folks in the chat room, if you can help us out with this, because my notes are in my office, and my office is not close. I mean, it's.
The song on that the Olympics played that. I know there was one on the plane commercial where they talked about London was burning and people were going to die. London Calling is one of the first response. London is burning.
Okay.
London Calling. London is burning.
Yeah, if you, sir, if you search using like Bing or whatever, I would recommend a search engine other than Google. If you search London
is calling. London is calling.
London is calling, or satanic Olympic song. Yeah, you'll have the lyrics of that.
And I had one more, not even a question. Something happened last week. I was in New York City, right by Vesey Avenue, by where the World Trade Centers itself. The new tower. Hello?
Yes, we know it well. Yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I was by the new center being built. I think it's 1. And on Thursday around about probably like 9 o'clock, a bunch of emergency units, firefighters, and cops just rushed there. And I have yet to find out what happened. I can't find it on the news or anything. I've seen firefighters on the elevator that rises up to the top of that building. They were just
there was a fire that took place. I believe it was on the 83rd floor of that building. Okay, now there's not too much information about it, not too much about the origin of that fire.
Yeah.
Okay, but and I'm not sure if it was on Friday. They're also having problems, caller, with their internal monitoring system that monitors the fire sprinklers and what have you. So keep that in mind.
I heard about it once, and then it happened again last Thursday. I just was wondering. I was trying to call you guys that night as it was happening. But, just curious.
Well, that's to the best of our knowledge, based on the information we have. They are having trouble with the electronics there. That kind of gives me some instance to pause there a little bit. But there was a fire, and I think it was last week on the 83rd floor. But yeah, it's. What do you think of that tower, caller?
I mean, it's okay, but I mean, it's being shaped into a triangle. There's a lot of stuff about New York that seems very weird to me, about like the subways having that all-seeing eye all over the place.
Yep.
The subways are a crazy place to be. I got to tell you, we were in New York, worked there for a year and a half,
18 months. Yep.
And last time we were there, they were building the tower, and it wasn't even near completion, and it didn't resemble anything that it looks like now. But
no,
we haven't seen it personally since it's been up. But that city is very odd. The symbolism is very open. And, I mean, just look at the Rockefeller Center. Just look at, like you said, the all-seeing eye. The subway system is horrible. And then you have to see things like that. And, I mean, you're right, caller. It's terrible. But just to answer your first question, for sure, the song was called London Calling, and it was by The Clash, is the name of the band.
Interesting, too.
Because I was just getting my church to get, like, I'm starting to get my church to start to open up to it, and there's a very big church in Philadelphia that can help a lot, and I was just going to try to hand out flyers, like, all over the city to wake people up, put them on their car, like, every day as I can, just to, you know, do something, you know.
You know what, caller, and thank you. You know, follow your heart, and look, that's what we need to do. We need to get people awake, and boy, I'll tell you, you know, anything we can do to help you, let us know, because that's what we are. You know, we're trying to be good stewards. Good stewards.
Yes.
You know, watchmen. So.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Appreciate you guys. I mean, thank you.
All right. Well, you take care. That's great. Great.
All right.
Thanks for the call.
Yeah. You know,
and folks, you want to join the conversation? 661-244-9839. We'll be taking your calls as we go over news.
Some additional stuff here. Go ahead.
Obama warns of military action on Syria over chemical weapons. And I love this. This is from the New York Times. Look at this headline. Obama warns of military action. How about Obama has been supplying people with guns and Al-Qaeda members, prisoners, terrorists with the ability to, and has been they've been carrying out military action against Syria.
Do you realize that these weapons of mass destruction?
I know.
Date back
we talked
so
about this.
Far.
He said they went from Iraq
no, I mean,
Syria.
Before that, you're talking
back
in the 70s that we supplied.
But look, with the common theme in all these, the weapons of mass destruction, Iran nuclear, these things never happen.
Right.
The wars always do, but these things never get found. After, you know, I mean, this is just the way it goes. Every reason that we go to war seems to be a lie, and it usually is. You know, they're not worried about the chemical weapons. They want Assad out of there. And it is also part of prophecy that Syria will fall. And Syria is part of the reason why Iran is still, probably has not been attacked. That needs to go. They need to destabilize the Syrian government because Syria and Iran are allies.
Yeah, and you know, kind of carrying through, segueing into this, I had another really great conversation with a guest that we had on, Marinka Peshman. Folks, she's the author of The Whistleblower, and she talks about a lot about Bill and Hillary Clinton having never left power. Okay, when I talked to her this weekend, we were talking about Afghanistan, the rules of engagement, what's happening with our military. Right now, American and Afghan officials, they're holding, or this past weekend, they held an inauguration ceremony for new recruits for their village police force in the Fatah province. Okay, what we're finding out, or what is actually taking place over there, we're sending our young men and women over there to be slaughtered, essentially. There is a war that's going on. The rules of engagement are such that our troops are not able to fire on the enemy unless they're fired on first in most situations. And I say most situations, there are exceptions to that. But the acts of violence against our troops by people who are supposed to be on our side, what's happening is we are training killers, okay? It's plain and simple. Our military, our good men and women are training killers. These killers, these Afghans, are turning the weapons on the very people who are training them, us.
Mm-hmm.
We know that. The generals know this. The people in the White House know this. The people in the Defense Department know this. Yet we keep sending them out to slaughter. This has been the worst, and what's not being reported, none of this is being reported by the media. The number of casualties and in fact, the majority of casualties today, meaning in recent times are not from necessarily IEDs planted by some terrorist. No, it would be akin to fragging incidents or getting shot.
Yeah,
you know. So that's. But folks, understand we need to bring those men and women home.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And what we open the show with, we're going to get into now, the anti-terror exercises planned for D.C. skies. NORAD announces exercises as a warning for the public.
Anybody a little bit, folks, out there in the chat room, and I don't have the chat room impaired, but anybody have a bad feeling about that? You know, anybody a little bit concerned about these terror drills?
Yeah.
You know, they seem out of place.
Yeah, they do.
And folks, maybe it's just me.
Well, the way that they're doing them, the locations that they're being held in, the times that they're what's being used in these drills. We're going to go over some of the important parts of this article.
Okay, let's do that, because
also I want to ask if there are any military people listening. Please call in 661-244-9839.
And yeah, because we want to get your take on some of these. What's going on with this NORAD? Again, as you said, they're announcing these exercises
tonight. The intercept and identification.
Okay, this is what? This is a combination between the Air Force and Coast Guard.
They are doing this to prevent suicide aircraft attacks on other threats to the Capitol. According to the exercise commander.
They're running the cap over D.C. tonight.
Operation Falcon Virgo involves Civil Air Patrol Cessna 182 light aircraft, Coast Guard HH-65 Dolphin helicopter between 11:30 p.m. Monday and 5 a.m. Tuesday.
Now think about that. You're going to have a lot.
In the middle of the night in Washington, D.C., we are going to have NORAD running training drills.
Yeah, okay.
And what they are going to do is a series of training flights held with the FAA, the National Coordination Center, the Joint Air Defense Operations Center, Civil Air Patrol, Coast Guard, Eastern Air Defense, NORAD. A NORAD statement said, Exercise Falcon Virgo is designed to hone NORAD's intercept and identification operations, as well as operationally test the NCR visual warning system and certify newly assigned command and control personnel at JADOC. The exercises are part of the military's rapid response capability for the region, the statement added.
See, and again, okay, here we go. Now, normally this would not be of any concern, because there are routine patrols, or not routine patrols, but routine training exercises. But you've got this specific anti-terrorist exercise right now that's being planned. People are being warned now, hey, if you see a plane up in the sky, or whatever you see up there, don't worry. Well, okay, that concerns me. But the exercises that are being held, to me, I believe are in preparation. And this is what bothers me a little bit, and especially after talking with some military personnel earlier, not today, but earlier, over the weekend. There's an increase of urban training exercises. There's an increase of presence on our streets by the military. There's an increase of training exercises like this over D.C. skies, other metropolitan cities, when in fact there does not have to be. Now, I also have someone who has been telling me, no, there has to be this. No, there doesn't, okay? And the one person that was telling me this is actually, I found out, is with military intelligence, and not exactly on our side, but so I just want to make it clear that, look, this is not necessary. I mean, these exercises like this, you just watch what they're doing. That's what I really want to stress on this.
And we have a caller who wants to comment on these drills. A local man, friend.
Oh, let's bring him on.
Hey, John.
Hi guys, how are you tonight?
Good, John.
I'm not going to take up too much of your time. I just want to point out one phrase from this article. According to the NORAD spokesman, Quote, this is a controlled and carefully planned NORAD live exercise, unquote. So is 9/11.
Yeah, and if you look at the article, it says during September 11 terrorist attacks, U.S. Military jets had to be scrambled from Southern Virginia, and that's all they say about it. They don't mention that, you know, that these scrambled jets were hours late and did nothing and were ineffective.
Well, they were over the Atlantic. But that said, John, what bothers you about this, aside from that one statement?
It's rather difficult to put into words. Just that every time, not every time, but a lot of times when the government or the military or our defense network does an exercise, something happens. Maybe, you know, something small sometimes, most of the time, but 9/11 happened during an exercise.
It did, indeed.
So did 7/7.
So did 7/7, exactly right, the London bombings.
That's
Thank
correct.
you, Joe.
Yeah.
Also, related to this, and I'll put this out there, and then I'll let you guys go because I know you're busy. My circle of Skype friends, Ben, Mike, Rex, and Wade are going to be up all night keeping an eye on this, and they're going to call me if anything happens, and if anything does, I'll be calling you guys.
Well, you have our hotline number, right?
Yes, sir.
All right, that's all.
Yes, sir.
Look, yeah, I have a feeling it's going to be a long night for us as well. So, yeah, keep in touch. Let us know, and folks, we will let you know as well. If anything does transpire, we'll certainly. But see, John, and I want to mention this. John is part of Braveheart Radio, Pennsylvania Patriot Radio. If you go onto our website, HomelandSecurityUS.com, there's a prominent link to his show, 6 to 9 every Saturday night. We had the pleasure of being on your show, John, this past Saturday. It was great.
The pleasure was all ours, trust me.
And folks, this is what it's all about. It's about getting all of us together. This is what we're trying to do.
What Troy's doing, what Cuban's doing.
That's right.
Christian United Broadcasting Network.
We're trying to bring everyone, like with Keith Hansen. We're trying to bring all of us together, so we could be more of a formidable force against the enemy that is against us. So, but I want to thank you, John, for your show.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for yours, and God bless you guys. God bless the listeners. God bless America.
Thanks, John.
Take care, my friend.
Take care.
All right, that was John from Braveheart Radio.
We got 20 minutes left. We got a couple more minutes than that. Our studio clocks are really messed up. Military callers, people from D.C., give us a call, especially about these drills. What do you think about these drills? And please, anybody who's listening in D.C. or hears us on the archive before Monday night, videotape what you can. If you're free,
thing too, yes.
Document what you see, just to be on the safe side.
Right.
Right. It just might be a drill, but document it.
I mean, look, yeah, there will be a drill, but
no, I'm saying it just might only be a drill.
Right.
Whereas other drills have turned into,
yes,
terrorism attacks.
Exactly. All right. We're
going to go into one more call here.
Okay, let's do that.
Lucy on the line from Tennessee. Lucy, you're on with the Hagmann and Hagmann Report.
Hey, y'all. I think am I too loud?
No, you're perfect.
Okay, praise the Lord. I am just so thankful for y'all, and I've really been praying. I think a lot of the stuff that's being said is, a lot of it is false flags. I think, why do they keep saying that we are going to attack Israel? I mean, not Israel, but Iran.
Right.
It's almost, there's something undercover going on all this. And today I was driving down the road, and at 11:05, I had the Christian radio on, and my phone started doing that thing like when we have tornadoes here in Tennessee. And I thought, what is going on? And it said, National Terrorist Alert.
Mm-hmm.
And then it started naming alphabetically all of these states that were in this alert for the next hour. Have y'all heard anything about that?
I've gotten tons of emails about this, Lucy.
I'll tell you, Lucy, if you go to our Team K9 YouTube channel, I put up a video. I don't know what kind of phone you have, but I got a new phone recently, and it's an older version of the Android. And there's settings on here for alerts. And I made a video about the alerts that you can turn off. There's an Amber Alert, extreme weather alert, an extreme alert, a test alert, and a presidential alert. You can turn off all the alerts except the presidential alert, so you won't get those anymore. But you can never turn off the presidential alert. And if you watch the video,
this was on my car radio.
Oh, on your car radio.
Car radio listed like 20 states.
Okay. Well, the EAS system has been, I mean, they do this all the time. We see it.
Yeah,
but we know there's been a takeover of this, the emergency broadcasting
I have not heard
system.
about, the emails I've been getting have been about the cell phones and about the alerts like she's describing on the cell phone.
Well, I also talked to a friend who had an alert on during the night. Saturday night maybe.
Tornadoes like Saturday?
She said that it was very odd. They never get those alerts at night. That was on the TV.
Okay. Lucy, what we're going to do, we're going to look into this. That's got to be an artifact of the new EAS, as you said, Joe, the EAS takeover type.
But usually they say this is just a test. You know. So it said
National Terrorist Alert, and then they started naming out the states, starting with Arkansas, all the way up to Wisconsin. Tennessee was in the middle. And I thought, this is strange. They've never named out states. They might name out counties. But, I mean, a whole list like of 20 states.
Did they name all the states or just like you said?
No. About 20 states, and they weren't. At first, I thought it was just in the South because they named Tennessee and Mississippi, but then they had Wisconsin on there. And the reason I remembered Wisconsin is I have a daughter that lives up there, and I thought, what is going on?
Did they say afterwards, Lucy, that this was just a test or anything, or what was said afterwards?
They said this is an hour-long alert test. You know, they did say it was a test, but there was just something strange about it. There was something strange.
Jeez, Lucy, I'll tell you. Okay.
Expect more of this. Expect more testing of the broadcasting systems. And what we need to do, I mean, seriously, document these anomalies or just document when they happen. Because if they're going to start naming states, if they're going to start doing weird things, new things with the broadcasting systems, we need to be aware of them.
I'll talk to Patrick from the producer who's got one of the boxes, and I'll find out, you know, what that's all about for you, Lucy. I'll try to find out what it's all about. We'll report back to our listeners tomorrow night. I can get a hold of this radio producer.
And can we pray for this thing that might happen tonight?
Oh, certainly.
Or can I pray?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, Lucy.
Dear Father, we just come before you. Oh, Lord Jesus, we are desperate. We are in desperate times, Lord, and we sometimes don't know which way to turn or where to go, Lord, but our eyes are on you. And we thank you that you tell us not to fear, that we can trust you no matter what, as long as our eyes are on Jesus. Oh, Father, we pray that anything that the enemy has concocted up tonight will just go boomerang right back on them, Lord. And I thank you for Joe and Doug, for these truth-bearing men who are standing for righteousness, for standing up for our country, and doing all they can to get the news out, Lord. I pray the protection of the blood of Jesus Christ on them. And, Lord, I pray for that man that called from Wales, that if he does not know Jesus, the true living Jesus, that his heart will be open to asking Jesus to come in and live in his heart, Father. And I just thank you for this program and for the blessing it is to all of us on this line. In Jesus' mighty name, amen.
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 Amen. Lucy, thank you so much for your fellowship and for your prayers and for being you and for watching out and for being a part of our extended family.
Yeah, for your calls, for your emails. I just responded to an email while I was on the phone with you. Emails you sent some information. I'll look over that.
I've got Lucy, your information that you send me is just thank you. Just thank you for keeping me as well in the loop on things. I appreciate everything you do. I really do.
Oh, listen, I'm the one who's appreciative. Wow. We are blessed to have y'all.
Well, thank you.
Keep standing up.
God bless.
We're all back.
You take care.
God bless.
All right. Have
Thanks,
a good night.
Lucy. Have a great one.
Joe, I wanted to tell people, too, we're getting news now that the central bankers are preparing to throw some more money into the euros. Of course, don't forget September 12th.
But we know, we talked about this Friday, that the gas prices will be lower leading into the election.
Right. But just watch out for a lot of smoke and mirrors with the economy. And folks, if you're in the stock market, unless you know what you're doing, get out. Really get out.
I want to do this. Read a question from the chat room. Asks, has anyone been able to watch the old analog TV channels now the government has taken them over with the new? If you don't have cable,
I haven't
you used
tried.
to be able to watch like channel, the basic cable.
Yeah.
Well, you can't do that anymore. You need a special antenna. They went to digital from analog, if I'm correct.
Right.
And I'm not familiar with any of that, how that works. And he goes on to say that we used to have, before they blinded us with so the question being, has anyone been able to watch the old analog TV channels? So basically watch it without having, if you don't have cable.
Yeah, I understand what you're asking.
I
think people understand what you're asking. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think so. I know
because it would be like, to me, it's the same thing. The digital phones, the cell phones.
Yeah, I can get back to you on that tomorrow because I actually have a friend who has a huge, it's a ridiculously huge antenna. It looks like it's for a radio station on his garage. And I asked him what it's for, and he said it's for the TV. And we live in Erie, and they get Cleveland stations with that thing. But I don't know if it's the digital reception they're receiving or old analog. I don't even know if that analog is still.
I actually had better reception on my cell phone with analog than I do with digital.
Yeah.
Which I don't know why they do change this, but
all
right, let's move on with some additional news here.
Yeah.
Folks, I do want to bring this up before. Again, on HomelandSecurityUS.com, I've got an issue here. We did some investigation. You remember the Colorado shooting, folks?
Okay. Oh yeah, your article there.
Yeah. Look, we did some investigation on this. A 46-year-old mother of a 5-year-old, wife of a surgeon. She's a nurse at the University of Colorado, Jennifer Ann Gallagher Pinson. Well, again, she was on duty on July 20th when that shooting went down, and she and I want to thank Randy Taylor, who's a contributor and senior columnist with us, but she was on duty that night of the shooting at the hospital, and she received a lot of the trauma victims. Well, August 6th, Monday evening, she and her husband, her young child, and an unidentified friend were camping, or were on vacation. I shouldn't say camping. We're on vacation in Iowa. Okay, at an Indian named lake. Well, as the story goes, ladies and gentlemen, she, after her husband and child went to sleep, she and her friend went out on a boat. She decided to go swimming. Well, that's where things get a little bit kind of screwed up, because she never went back to camp. There's no word about what happened to her friend, what her friend did. But the bottom line here was the next day around 12:45. Well, one news report says around noon, and another says 12:45. There was a distress call, a 911 call from that family saying Jennifer's missing. Well, before the police could actually, or the sheriff's department could actually organize a search team or a rescue team, they found her body underneath a dock. Okay, so there's a lot wrong with this story. This was reported in Ireland. Now, this young lady's from Ireland. This was reported in the Irish papers first, not in the American media, except just the incident was reported in the American media. But there's something terribly wrong here. Now, I don't know whether that terribly wrong thing is something personal with the husband, or but let me tell you something. There's something very, very wrong with the death of this woman. And if it's not within that immediate scope of the family unit, if that's not where the problem lies, then I would be betting that she had seen or heard something, or because and by the way, it was like within 2 weeks ago, or 2.5 weeks, or I'm sorry, 2.5 weeks prior to her death, or on the 22nd of July. It was a couple of days after the shooting, more appropriately to describe it. Yeah. She had her photograph taken with Barack Obama, her and others on the trauma team. Okay, but like I said, did she hear something? Did she see something? Was something, did she find something out? I don't know, but there's something very, very strange about that death. We are going to be following that investigation, and we will keep you apprised.
Unbelievable.
But that's on HomelandSecurityUS.com and Canada Free Press. And if you want to, you can comment on that story on Canada Free Press. We don't have the comment abilities on our site.
Well, thanks for writing that story, because I
carried you
not
on that one.
Aware of this situation at all.
Randy Taylor, again, brought this story to my attention.
Well, thank you, Mr. Taylor. We got a couple minutes left, 10 minutes left. We got a bunch of news I want to hit. Oklahoma police captain punished for refusing to participate in an Islamic worship service files the suit. Police captain was punished for refusing to participate in a Islamic service which happened in Tulsa, Oklahoma, on a law enforcement appreciation day hosted by the Islamic Society of Tulsa at a local mosque. The event was to include a tour of the mosque, a prayer service, lectures on the Islamic faith, and meeting with local Muslim leaders. Now, apparently this was not I'm not sure if it was mandatory or unmandatory. It says the event is not a police call for service, which I would readily respond to, says Field, the guy who was arrested, this Chief Charles Jordan. And he said that he did not want to take part in the prayer service. He did not want to take part in, he apparently went to this place.
Right.
This outreach program, off duty,
yes,
not an official police function, and just refused to pray with the Muslims, and he was fired. Well, he's filing a lawsuit, and more people who get in, these kind of things that happen to them need to do that. And unfortunately, I wish I had more time to go into that article, because there's a lot more. But we got more important stuff.
But this is important. I wouldn't say more important, equally important. What's happening across the country right now, and folks, please be aware of this. The Islamic element, okay, the Muslim Brotherhood, they've infiltrated our government. And folks, if you can read it on Canada Free Press and HomelandSecurityUS.com of Obama, Christians, and crucifixion. You've got to understand how the Muslim Brotherhood has infiltrated our government. What they're doing is they're taking and they're trying to subjugate our laws to fit their culture, their religion.
It would be like us going to China and trying to make the Constitution the law of the land.
Right, and we've got to understand that. We really have to understand the placement of that, because it's a big component. It's a big part of it. So, okay.
All right, moving on here.
Don't dismiss it.
Police allowed to track cell phones in U.S. without court warrants. The U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals ruled that Americans have no reasonable expectation of privacy when calling on a cell phone.
Well,
allowing police to track the GPS location without a warrant or probable cause. The discussion came to the Court of the United States versus Skinner, and that the Drug Enforcement Administration
Skinner. That's correct.
abided by the Constitution by using a drug runner's cell phone data to track his location and determine his identity, which I don't know the specifics of this case, but this precedent being set by judges overthrowing the Constitution is increasing. We see it with Obamacare. We see it with many other. We saw the PA judge ruling, saying that they're going to follow Sharia law in a United States court case because some guy insulted Muhammad. The Muslim assaulted the man, and the judge threw the case out because under Sharia law, if you insult a Muslim, you're committing a crime.
Well, the judge was Muslim, and this was in Pennsylvania Magisterial Court, and this is a prime example of how and why Islam cannot be compatible with democracy.
Well, yeah,
and our constitutional laws. And again, I make this point in the article of Obama, Christians, and Crucifixion.
And I want to make this isn't the article. This is so important. The court considers cell phone use to be public, not private, okay? And that is huge. And it says, this Judge John Roberts wrote why, the reason. He said, this Skinner guy did not have a reasonable expectation of privacy in the data given off by his voluntary produced pay-as-you-go cell phone. If a tool
this is correct.
used to transport contraband gives off a signal that can be tracked for location, certainly the police can track the signal. But the ruling is currently being contested, leaving the possibility for police to secretly track vehicles without permission.
Through
warrant.
LoJack? That's correct. Now, see, if you leave off that, whatever the alleged criminal activity would be, just forget about that. Justice Roberts saying that, just forget about the criminal activity. The fact that they're saying, look, because you've got a device in your hands, and this is exactly what they're saying, because you've got a device in your hands that gives off a signal. It would be like having a radio that's turned on, and the police officer following the sound. I mean, I'm comparing this.
Because I got a clarification question I want to ask you after you finish.
Well, ask it now, and I can clarify it.
No, go ahead.
Well, okay. Anything that gives off, and folks, again, here is, and we're running into this more and more in the investigative side of things. Anything that gives off a signal, a cell phone, it transmits. Even if you're not using it, it transmits data to the tower. That information, what they're saying is that information can be collected and used against you. For example, if you are, and I'm just using this as an example, if you are trespassing on a military base, a military installation, or a nuclear power plant. Well, okay, it doesn't matter. Whatever you're doing, if you've got your cell phone on your person, or you're driving a car that has GPS, that GPS is transmitting as much as it is receiving. LoJack, same thing. Or what the thing is called, not LoJack, but the other one.
It doesn't matter.
OnStar. Okay. The police, what this judge is saying, what the ruling is, it's transmitting. You've got no reasonable expectation of privacy. Period.
But
is that cleared up?
Yeah, and I know this is not what you're saying is how it is. You're saying this is what the judge is saying.
Well, that's correct. This is. Do
you agree with this?
No, of course not. No, because no.
Okay.
No.
Because now we know because the CIA director came out and said the dishwasher, the lights, the TVs,
all the smart,
everything transmits a signal.
Right.
So I mean, and we're going down a very dangerous hole. You can't videotape a police officer in a public street. There's supposed to be an expectation of privacy for that.
No,
but they can turn around and do this. Listen, because you own a cell phone, you no longer have the right to talk privately on it.
No,
I mean, that's crazy.
It's not even talking. It's just tracking.
No, I know,
signal.
but I'm just saying. You don't have the right to privacy anymore because you have a cell phone.
Well,
that transmits a signal. What about the RFID chips?
Take the battery out.
They're going to start RFID chips in medication. They're starting to, I mean, they're tracking you. They do it at Walmart. I know we're up against the end of the show. We only have about 25 seconds left.
Let's end it right now.
Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank each and every one of you for listening tonight. I know we didn't get into a lot of news as much as we wanted to, but we will definitely get it all covered, even if we have to make YouTube videos and finish it that way.
I want to thank each and every one of you for everything.
Thanks
the support,
for your
prayers.
All the prayers, all the donations, all the emails, phone calls. We love you guys. And honestly, we would not, could not do this without you. And, God bless each and every one of you. Spread the word of the Lord. Spread the word about this show. And if you don't like this one, Pastor Paul Bagley, lead them to Cuban site. They'll find a show they'll like. You guys have a great night. We'll see you here tomorrow. Same time, 8 to 10.